There is a moment every night when the world freezes. No sound, no movement, no wind behind the windows. At exactly 3:17 a.m., time stops moving forward in my apartment. And I know this because I am still awake when it happens. Story, I didn't notice it at first. That's the most terrifying part. For weeks, my sleep schedule was terrible. I'd blame stress, screens, caffeine, anything except the quiet sense that something was wrong. I kept waking up in the middle of the night, always around the same time, with the same tight feeling in my chest. Eventually, I checked the clock. 3:17 a.m. every night. At first, I laughed it off. The human brain loves patterns, even when they don't exist. I told myself I was conditioning my body to wake up at that hour. Then I started noticing what happened after. The air changed, not colder, not warmer, just still. The hum of electricity faded. The refrigerator stopped vibrating. Even the distant sound of traffic vanished, as if someone had muted the world outside my walls. I would lie there, staring at the ceiling, listening to nothing. And the clock wouldn't move. The first time I realized time had stopped, I thought the clock was broken. I reached for my phone. 3:17 a.m. I waited. 30 seconds passed. Then a minute. Then longer. The phone didn't dim. The screen didn't change. I stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the streetlight hung frozen mid-flicker. A leaf was suspended in the air, caught halfway through a fall. A car sat in the middle of the road, headlights glowing but unmoving. The world had paused, and I was still inside it. Panic came later. At first, I was fascinated. I walked through my apartment. Everything felt real, solid. The floor creaked beneath my weight. My breath fogged slightly in the cold air. But nothing else responded. I tried the light switch. Nothing happened. I turned on the sink. No water. Time wasn't slowed. It was stopped. After what felt like hours, everything snapped back at once. Sound rushed in. The refrigerator hummed. The streetlight flickered properly. The car outside drove forward as if nothing had happened. The clock jumped to 3:18 a.m. I stood there, shaking, unsure whether to scream or laugh. The next morning, I convinced myself I had dreamed it. That explanation lasted exactly one day. It happened again the following night, 3:17 a.m. The same silence. The same frozen world. This time I tested it. I moved objects. I opened drawers. I stepped outside. The cold night air burned my lungs. The sky was wrong stars fixed in place. No clouds drifting, no sense of depth. It looked like a photograph stretched across the sky. I screamed. No echo. My voice died inches from my mouth. On the third night, I noticed something new. The pause lasted longer, much longer. I counted my breaths. I'd paced my apartment until my legs hurt. Time refused to move, and then I felt it. A pressure, not on my body, but on my awareness. Like something was observing the moment with me, waiting to see what I would do inside the gap. I stayed perfectly still until time resumed. By the fifth night, I stopped sleeping. I waited. At 3:17 a.m., the world froze again. But this time, something else didn't. There was movement in the reflection of my bathroom mirror. Not mine. I stood frozen, watching as the reflection lagged behind me by half a second. When I raised my hand, it followed too slowly, like it was struggling to remember how I moved. The longer I watched, the worse it became. My reflection smiled. I didn't. When time resumed, I smashed the mirror. The next night, the pause lasted even longer, and now I wasn't alone. I started finding signs. Objects out of place after time resumed. Scratches on the inside of doors. Footprints on the floor that didn't match my own. During the frozen minutes or hours, I began to sense motion just outside my vision. Shapes that vanished when I turned my head. Something was using the pause. Something that existed only when time didn't. Eventually, I understood the pattern. Time wasn't breaking. It was making room. On the 10th night, I stayed awake deliberately. At 3:17 a.m., the world stopped, and I felt hands on my shoulders. They were cold, careful, familiar in a way that made my stomach twist. I couldn't see them, but I felt myself being adjusted, turned slightly, repositioned, like an object being prepared. The pressure lingered until time snapped back. I collapsed to the floor when it did. That morning, my reflection was wrong. It blinked too late. It breathed when I didn't. I tried leaving the apartment. It didn't matter. The pause followed me. Hotels, friends' houses, even my car. 3:17 a.m. every night. Longer each time. And the presence grew more confident. Last night, time stopped again. But it didn't resume. The pressure returned, stronger now, more precise. I felt myself being copied piece by piece, memory by memory. I understand now. Time doesn't stop for me. It stops to replace me. I'm writing this during the pause. The world is still frozen. But something is standing behind me, breathing slowly, learning the rhythm of my body. When time starts again, I don't think I'll be the one who moves.